Alright, Stronghold-Corp followers. I'm going to talk magazines today. This might be a longer video, just a warning. So if you guys aren't paying attention to what's going on in the world, right, then go ahead and just turn this video off because you're not going to wake up to anything. So a lot of crazy shit going on in this world, and if it's ever been a time for me to tell people that you should be stocking up on stuff, right now is the time. So one thing to note is that, I tell people go to train, use your rifle, use your pistol, make sure you have adequate supplies of ammunition, make sure you have adequate other supplies. I've been called a prepper for years, right? Whatever. I don't really care. I've been called a conspiracy theorist. That's fine too. But I have people that come to my classes, take rifle classes. I say, let's teach fighting rifle. Let's talk carbines and stuff like that. And I got people that show up and they've got, 2 magazines, right? And I'll sell you 2 magazines, right? With a rifle. But then I have people ask me, how many magazines is the right amount? So that's what I want to get into here, because you can have all the great ideas and theory and training in the world, but if you don't have the equipment ready to go, then you're going to have a problem. So let's talk magazines. So first of all, if you're running an AR pattern magazine, right, or an AR style rifle that requires a magazine, there's a lot of different options out there. This is just an old mil-spec metal magazine. Nothing really wrong with mil-spec magazine. I like the mil-spec magazines. They got improved over the years. I will tell you though, the stuff that's on the market from other manufacturers outdistances the mil-spec stuff. And the reason being is the mil-spec stuff was aluminum magazine. It had feed ramps at the top, and actually this one's damaged. I don't know if you can see it or not on the camera if I get it close enough. But this feed lip on this side is bent down, and this feed lip is bent correctly. And that's probably from it dropping on the ground and landing on its feed lips, right? So this mag is kind of beat up. It could probably be repaired, but how do you know if it's going to run right when you need it to run right? So for the AR pattern rifle, I'm a huge fan of the Lancer magazines. The Lancer magazines are my go-to magazines. They've got steel feed lips, not aluminum feed lips. The ones I like, these are the L5 AWMs. They're semi-transparent. They've got some texture onto them. They're a good mag, right? I like this mag. When I set up a gun for my kids, and I'm like, hey, you're old enough that you should have a gun for your kids, they get Lancer mags, right? When I run classes, I run Lancer mags, right? I have no problems with Lancer mags. They do cost more than some other mags on the market, but in the world of fighting guns, sometimes you get what you pay for, right? So I'd rather have a magazine I can trust my life to than one that I hope didn't get dented the last time I dropped it doing a training evolution. So I will tell you, I like the Lancer mags. I also like the Magpul P mags. Magpul makes a great mag, and their E mags are awesome too. But I'm a Lancer guy right now, and I've been a Lancer guy for a number of years. I do have a lot of P mags I own also in my inventory of mags. I have Lancers and P mags, so I like those products, right? People ask me how many magazines is the right amount of magazines, right? And I would always say more is better than less, right? And if you're in a state that's having a bunch of legal changes to your state law, like friends of mine in Virginia right now, I bet you they wish they were buying magazines last year, right? People I know in Washington State years ago wish they would have bought more magazines also. And I would bet people in Colorado are wishing they would have bought more magazines too, because they're all turning into California at this point. So I would say if you have the opportunity, you live in a free state now, buy more mags, right? Right now is the time to be buying mags and buying ammo. I tell you, when you're asking how many mags you should have, if you have a rifle, right? Like say you're having an AR-15 and it's your home defense, into the world, zombie apocalypse gun, right? You're going to use it to get wherever you got to go. You need to have at least 7 mags in my mind, okay? 7 mags would be 210 rounds loaded. That'd be one in the gun, and then gives you the ability to have a little 6-pack bandolier with 6 more mags if you need that. But a minimum of 7 mags per gun, right? And you may think, oh my gosh, 7's a crazy number. 7 is not even a crazy number, right? You got to consider these could get shot, these could get broke, these can get damaged, these can get driven over. You got to consider at some point you may not be able to replace this mag. If you only bought 7 mags, and now you got to go through the next 20 years with those 7 mags, I hope you don't destroy them, you're going to wish you'd bought 70 mags. So buying mags is not a hard deal. If you're an AK person, right, and you run an AK in 7.62, right, by 39, which is the caliber for the AK, as it should be, the mil-spec mags are the way to go, right? These are awesome. You can beat things. You can use them as a can opener, bottle opener. They're pretty much indestructible unless they, get hit or ran over or shot. Tough deal. Also, I've got some from way back in the Yugoslavian and Serbian war days that are all covered in blood and rusted, and they kind of messed up the feed ramps or feed lips into them, where they got rust behind that. But most of the time, you can fix an AK mag pretty well. But again, if you own an AK, I would tell you to have at least 7 mags for your AK, right? Because you never know if you're going to drop one, lose one, whatever, right? So people ask, how do you carry your mags, right? Here's a bailout bag. This bailout bag has mag pouches in the front, right? So you can hold up to 3 AK mags here, and then you can hold more mags on the inside here, right? So this one's got, I think, how many mags do I have in this bag? I got a lot of mags. This bag will hold 3 pistol mags. It'll hold another like 9 rifle mags, and then it has loose space on the inside. So if you don't want to buy a chest rig, or if you don't want to buy a battle belt, or if you don't want to buy a rig, or you're like, what am I going to do with this many mags? Right now is the time to buy quality mags. Stronghold-Corp can help you with that, and buy a bunch of them so you have enough magazines for your guns to last forever. And when I say forever, it could be that, hey, I've got to equip my kids someday and I have 2 rifles, so I should be planning ahead. Or, hey, I've got 3 kids and I'm going to have 3 rifles and I should have enough mags for all of them to go for a while. Because you never know when you're not going to have the right amount of mags. I can tell you, if you're grabbing your mags because you're going to a fight or a fight's coming to you, you're going to wish you had bought more mags. So the rifles are really a single shot without a magazine. So magazine's a key feature to have on the rifle. So I would tell you, if you're going to buy a rifle and you're going to set yourself up to be ready to fight with that rifle, you should have at least 7 magazines, and they should be 7 good magazines. And you should keep track of your magazines. Maybe you mark your magazines. Maybe on these, on the bottoms, you can mark the bottom of these with paint pens and things like that. Some people number their magazines, so if they have one that's a problem when they're practicing with it, they can be like, hey, oh, heck, magazine number 12 is bad. I'm going to take it out of service. Or I'm going to put a little red dot next to it. It's going to be only for practice, right? So if I'm going to actually fight with the magazine, I don't have a bad mag in my mix. So be thinking about magazines, how your magazines are treated. Do you need to clean your magazines? Are you running suppressed? If you're running suppressed, you're going to get a lot more dirt and debris into your magazines, so you'll probably need to think about cleaning them more. But magazines are as important in your fighting loadout as anything else. In fact, probably more important at some point. So make sure you have magazines. I'd say, back in the day, we used to say buy them cheap and stack them deep. We're past that buy it cheap phase. So now it's like, hey, buy once, cry once, right? Buy a good quality mag and know what you're doing. It's my soapbox for today. If you're not paying attention to what's going on in the world and you're just sitting back on autopilot, go ahead and turn this video off, right? But if you're watching what's going on around you and you're thinking to yourself, you know what? Maybe I should have a few more magazines in my inventory. It's February of 2026 and you should be buying mags. John's out.